Are you tired of all the uneducated noise you're getting from the droves of YOLO meme coin peddling douchebag gurus out there trying to use you as their exit liquidity? Would you rather learn a competent university level set of skills that will guide you in managing and investing for the rest of your life? Join us 3 days a week at Digital Investor. Develop your knowledge of game theory, cognitive bias, macroeconomics, monetary theory, investment theory, psychology of the crowds, and more. For more info on Digital Investor and how it can help you, reach out at nickblacknext.com.
All right. What do we got? What kind of good news? Let's see. Oh, Jesus, you already fixed the truck this morning. Dear God, man. Hello. Let's see. A couple things. One, as of Saturday, digital private clients, we will have all of the stuff sorted out for the Rolls-Royce thing, if you know what I mean. So for the Nightingale. So that'll be ready on Saturday. And I think we cut them a check late next week, which gets us the official allocation of the car. For those of you who don't know, there's a 1 of 100 new Rolls Royce that they're building. It's a full electric drop top. It's a secret. I don't know, secret now, but it was a secret project until about 2 weeks ago at Rolls Royce. It's 1,000 horsepower drop top, like super car freaking Rolls Royce, 2-door, very futuristic, but Rolls Royce, very elegant. And the digital private clients are buying one. We will have one, and then we will do what you do with a car like that, which is sell it to somebody much richer than us and make mini currencies. So that will be live. Brandon's setting all that up. We'll be able to do that on Saturday, starting Saturday. And then there'll be but that's for the private clients only, because that's an accredited investor thing. Okay. Active DPCs. If you're on the sidelines, no, you gotta be active. All right. The other thing, I spent some time yesterday with the co-CEO of Twin Protocol about what they're doing and all the stuff. And they have made me feel much more comfortable about their asset than these other SNet assets, because they're actually building a company. And they don't care. Their focus is not the token, pumping the token, doing token crap. Their focus is building a company where the tokens have an extreme use case, which is to build your twin, to put a bunch of really cool data in the vault that is like, imagine the vault as the brain for your twin, and you're filling the vault full of cool stuff. And it's all yours, and it's all proprietary. Like no one else has access to it. So you will really own your digital presence. And then what you can start doing is going through the internet and getting rid of your information wherever it is, so that the only source, the only way anyone could access you is through your twin. And for many of you, you would say, you know what? You're going to have to pay for that. So not only should you own your identity, your digital representation, but you should, if someone's going to pilfer your data, they should pay you. Not this deal where we pay Google and Google then sells our stuff. They get paid 14 times and we're the product. No. So that's really cool. And yeah, I have been able to chat with my twin. The problem is like, it's not one of the way the twin communicates and all that. It uses my voice and my nuances and all that. The problem is that the avatar that they were using at first was just kind of like leering at me, all creepy. And I was like, this is it's like a creepy drunk guy in a bar, which is my fault because those are the only pictures I gave them. And then they use those pictures to generate. They're like, well, if you give us better pictures, I'm like, well, I'm haunted. I'm haunted right now. Maybe I just want a big happy face. No, but that's going well. It's really cool. And we talked about this big use case for when you go to a website and it has the little chat box. Oh, chat with us. And you never learn anything from that. But imagine if the chat was really like a well-powered, well-plugged in, like imagine a twin consumer or customer service bot on a website, and it was as powerful as every large language model. It had all that data at its disposal, and it was focused customer service oriented. That would actually then jump past and be better than a human. Some dumbass from some banana republic that's answering customer service calls for 17 companies, which, by the way, that's how Coinbase does it with their customer service. They farm it out to a service in India, and the people there, because I finally got one of them to I called customer service so many times that they finally told me I got one person to break week. They have a screen, and whatever company the call comes in for, they have a list of responses. So they service 20, 30, 50, 100 different companies. Well, at least until the twinning. So, there's other companies that are going to do stuff like this, but in the decentralized or disintermediated space, I think this is the best one. I mean, it might be the only one. Anyway, as far as those of you like, well, okay, great. When's the launch date? When is the launch date? We don't have a defined specific launch date. My gut feeling is it's this month, but my advice was wait for the markets to turn up a bit, right? Like I'd rather wait at this point, I'd rather wait a few more weeks and see the markets more enthusiastic. So that's kind of, you can't ignore the macro cycles. Like there's reasons that that the four cycles of a business, the four kind of independent cycles in a business cycle have so much, history of people writing about them specifically as these four individual time periods. So we're going to discuss that. And then we're also going to discuss the game theory and cognitive bias and how you should, swim your way through those business cycles, but you can't ignore them. So anyway, yeah, people are like, crypto is separate. No, it's not, man. Every piece of currency unit in the world is tethered in some way. This one today is it's called Grasshopper Pie. I don't even know what that means. And it sounds gross. Like I can't imagine a worse pie. Like getting little legs in your teeth. Like, oh God, that was a big one. That's a femur. That's a grasshopper femur, or whatever they call that on a grasshopper. I'm sure they don't call it a femur. Anyway, yep. So we're going to talk about business cycles and the game theory and cognitive bias against those. I would like to see Twin have more interesting use cases. The ones Twin side are not very compelling. Well, they're rolling out slowly. I mean, compelling. You don't think that all of the small and medium-sized websites across the world, the millions of websites that have customer service. You don't think that's a good use case? Dear God, Greenfield, what do you need? Name one product in the crypto space that has an embedded 100 million clients right now, this second, if they could just reach them. Go on, raise your hand. Raise your hand for the class. So there you go. All right, so all is required. Well, the cool thing is it's not token gated in that specific way. Yes, you can use tokens, but people could pay regular money. So when you go to set up your twin, because a lot of people, they don't want to have anything to do with Web3. They don't want crypto anything. They don't want exposure to crypto. They ain't playing. So they would say, okay, I want to just use Stripe. I want to fund my twin vault and I want to start teaching it things and all this kind of stuff. Great. And part of that process will be free, like absolutely free, because they want people to start building their twin, and there's with zero barrier to entry. And then beyond a certain point, when it starts becoming cost prohibitive to them, because remember, every time you're asking a question of your twin, it's involving not only all the information in your vault, but it's also leveraging all the large language models behind it and large multimodal models. They're all plugged in. It's a big fat brain. And so you're getting the best of the best with that. And they're not beholden to any one language model or multimodal model. Also, it's kind of like you're building that, what we talked about the other day, a proprietary multimodal model or proprietary model. So part of it you'll be able to do for free, and then part of it they're going to create like a point system, and points equal 10 cents. Let's just say, and I don't know if this is the number, but let's just say it's 10 cents a point. Okay, great, 10 cents, and you give them $20. Great, you got 200 points, and those points equal a certain amount of queries and this kind of stuff. They have to pay for those queries. So it would cover the cost of servicing your twin as you keep building it. The tokens can be traded against those points as well. Matter of fact, the tokens will probably have a slightly discounted way to do it. So let's say a point was 10 cents. A token might be a cheaper way to do that. Plus, also imagine that some people would buy up their tokens. I would hope people are getting twin tokens not just for the flip, but that they're getting them to actually power their twin. Because if the more people that are using the tokens to power their twin, they're also going to have staking type mechanisms and all that kind of stuff. But the more people that are doing that, that hoarding effect kicks in. That hoarding effect pulls tokens to the sidelines. Then you could siphon off some of your tokens, probably have your twin funded in perpetuity, just because you were smart on how the launch took place. Even people that buy day one tokens will probably be good, because again, if you're buying the tokens to fund your twin, you're doing it right. If you're buying the tokens to flip the tokens, you may be missing it. Again, this isn't AGIX or Fetch or Rejuve or NewNet or Singularity DAO or Crapgito. These are actually this project actually has a product. None of those other, well, that's not fair to Rejuve. Rejuve has a product. They just don't need a token. There's no reason for the token in any of those other examples I gave you. There is a reason for the token in two projects that are loosely coupled with SingularityNet. Loosely coupled. That is Hypercycle and that is Twin. And also there's a lot of really cool ways that Twin and Hypercycle. So basically, Twin, when they roll out this whole network, they're going to leverage they're going to run on Hypercycle. At first, they will just plug in their back end AI compute, and then as they scale up, they will leverage the Hypercycle ecosystem, because they'll be one of the biggest clients for Hypercycle compute. Well, I don't know about one of the biggest. They will eventually, you would hope, be a medium size, hopefully, or larger client running on top of Hypercycle rails. Again, Hypercycle is the internet of AI. Okay, cool. So that's what we got. Let's see. My twin will run. Yeah, you could. You know what? That'd be interesting. You could train your twin to run your nodes and do all the node management. That'd be kind of cool. Well, yes, you could do a twin that would just ask me questions, but then I would have my twin answering your twin. And I'll just bump the charge of my twin per question higher so that eventually I wear you out financially. I will financially wear you out. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe you have a more well-funded twin than even I. Okay. So there we go. Let's see. After how you describe twin and use case, I'm now going to buy a nice amount from No Market. Well, I'm not telling anyone to buy or sell or trade or do anything. What I'm telling you is, if you're buying these tokens, you should be getting them to build your twin. Think about this. Here's a use case that has nothing to do with finance. What if you just want to have something to leave to your family in case something weird happens? Like lightning bolts, lava, a fiery eclipse. I don't know, wild boars attack you or whatever. Wouldn't it be nice to just leave something that people could talk to, like your parents, your kids, your grandparents? A digital would be very interesting. Think about your family going back. How cool would it be if you could just sit down every night and have conversations with some family member that's already passed? Think about how badass that would be. That would be an incredible level of badassery. I mean, I don't know. There's all sorts of people I'd like to sit and chat with if they could create, like, an Albert Einstein bot. It might be cool to have discussions with Einstein and, Juvenal and go Marcus Aurelius. Can you imagine Epictetus? Just like, oh yeah, what are you doing tonight? I'm just talking to the smartest people ever. So there's all sorts of ways where simply having a digital twin that's really, really well trained in all the nuances of that person and the thoughts and all that, that would be really cool. So yes, there's a lot of financial versions of it, but it's pretty badass. I'd love to have those kind of conversations. Anyway, I think it's gonna be cool. Yeah, twin rooms. Yeah, well, imagine we could do a show where it's like me and Brandon, and we could have a couple of like really smart Charlie Munger. There's enough information out there and speeches and everything else to create a Charlie Munger twin. Or we'd have to call him like Charlie Hunger or something like that, because you don't want to step on his family's toes. But can you imagine like having all your investment advice and then being like, hey, Charlie, what would you do? That'd be pretty cool. Have a couple billionaires at your beck and call anytime you want. So why should death be a limit? Why should death stop you from communicating with the ones that you love or whatever? And who knows what the future of, you could imagine a future where eventually you've uploaded so much to your twin vault that through some kind of plug-in of continuity consciousness, you could, who knows what the future looks like. We don't know what we don't yet know. So anyway, there's all sorts of sci-fi ways you could take that forward, but pretty cool stuff. Ooh, AR VR with Nostradamus. Do you know that he made all these predictions, but he also made, like, for every prediction he got right, he made like 450 that were nowhere even close, that were just ridiculous. So he was like a very spammy Twitter. If Nostradamus had been on Twitter, you'd have been like, oh my God, block this guy. Jesus, he does not shut up. He's making 17 predictions a day. He's like, your watch will break. And then his next prediction, your watch will not break. Wait a minute. I see what you did, Nostradamus. More like Nostradamus. Anyway, yeah. Uh-oh, here's a kitty. Hold on. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. What, Bubba? Come here, she just goes out there and then she just starts calling out into like, she just starts calling out. I don't know what floor she's on, but usually if I say, come here, kitty, she'll eventually go floor by floor until she figures it out. Anyway. All right. Are we goddamn honey badger? That honey badger, honey badger, I tell you. They just rolled out some new stuff. Okay. There's this whole thing about parallel computing and data integrity is pretty badass. You can use Arweave for those of you that want to like to send files. You can send and protect and stuff like that. It's really cool. I would urge people to look into Arweave just for their own like personal management of data. It's kind of cool. Anyway, let's see. You may expand your twin's knowledge resources, be smarter than yourself. Yeah. I mean, what if you had you to bounce ideas off of? Or what if you had a you that had like perfect maths skills, perfect science background, like perfection. So what would you could ask yourself, you could have yourself with, feed in a bunch of medical information so that you were the latest, your twin Catherine also had like an advanced degree in particle physics, in, neuropathology, gosh, you could make it like a counselor. You could do whatever you want to do. You could just make it very, very smart. And then you could have discussions with the smartest version of you possible. Right? Or Howard, you could have discussions with your twin, and your twin would, one, not always wear blue shirts, could wear other colored shirts. We don't know. It would be the not colorblind version of you, Howard. If you can imagine that, you could just talk to it about fashion. Anyway. So yeah. How would you copy, could you copy a book on any subject to your twin? I mean, I think you could. I think you can fuel your twin with whatever, it's your twin. You're building your twin. And then what you do is you're going to be interacting with it so that it's thinking similar. It's never going to be perfect because it didn't grow up with you. But there's a cool feature that they were talking about yesterday, which is it will ingest, let's say you have an Instagram account. It will ingest all of your Instagram account, and it will look at those pictures and make inferences from the pictures. Oh, you've traveled here. You did this. You enjoy this. Look at that car. Look at that delicious meal. And it will start making all these inferences, and you'll talk back and forth with it. And it'll say, do you really like this? Is it, how yummy was that? Da, da, da. Hey, remember this? And so it's helping create an understanding of you visually. It makes a lot of sense. Those are pictures that you're putting forward to the world. And that's at least, I would imagine if you're on Instagram and you're taking pictures and you're putting them on Instagram, that's a reflection of the kind of things that you want other people to think that you're into. Like mine is mostly cats and cars. Maybe that's another show we should do. Cats and cars. Anyway. So yeah, I think that your twin would end up being the better version of you. Would you have to upload each page of a book? I think you would just upload book, like you would upload. Well, look, anything that these large language models can do and the large multimodal models can do, you'll be able to do. Claude 3 can ingest, I think, up to 120,000 like words or something like that, maybe 200,000 words, Claude 3. So I don't think there'll be too many limits. Cats, cars, and coffees. I like that. Oh, wait, it'd be coffee. Well, there's coffees. I have several. Anyway, so there we go. So that's twin, and that's going to be kind of fun. I'm looking forward to kind of how that gets built out. We don't know an exact launch date, but we know that it's coming soon. And again, my advice was let these markets get a little bit more comfy. And this is the pretty normal doldrums. This is pretty normal for this time of year, and it's also pretty normal for right after halving. And this is like a week where, congressmen and senators are pointing the finger. Gary Gensler knows that his career is cooked. I think he understands. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's, unless he's already been promised something from the Biden administration, I don't think there is a political future for Gary Gensler. He's just gone a little too far, and he's a little too arrogant to the wrong people. There's certain people that you can be arrogant to, but not when you are asleep at the wheel during Celsius, FTX, Luna, Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, Voyager. Like, you can't be asleep at the wheel on every one of these. And then you're like, we're going to really crush these library.com, Libri, these stupid little nothing projects. We're going to show them $3 million they made. We're going to take care of that. Like, why don't you cover the $30 billion ones, dummy? Or are you too busy having luncheons and crap like that? So there, it seems to be that he's starting to be called on the carpet more. And at a certain point, politically, it's going to be easier to just sacrifice him, to be like, you know what? It wasn't me. It was this dummy Gary Gensler. He just turned into a psychopath. I know that right now Biden's got his back, but that's not going to last much longer. If these lawsuits, if some of these, contempt of Congress and perjury and all this kind of stuff, if these things move forward, because what they do is it's like they'll kind of hint that this is a path they might take. And I'm sure behind closed doors, there's all sorts of talks going on. I mean, of course. And all we see are the little headlines and the blurbs and crap. But I'm sure behind the scenes, there's all sorts of horse trading going on that we'll never know about. But I think Gary has used the last of his kind of credit or goodwill. I think he's probably on the way out. And even if he isn't, all of these Wells notices, who's going to fight these cases? The SEC can't run all these cases concurrently. Okay, we're going to go after you. Go after him. That's why Coinbase is like, come on then. They're like, let's see what you got. And that's why Consensus is like, oh, we have money. We have money and lawyers and plenty of time. What have you got, Gary? Time is not on your side, bro. So the SEC couldn't fight these cases if it wanted to. Matter of fact, Gary even got snarky when he was on CNBC talking to Andrew Ross Sorkin. And basically, Gary's contention was like, well, you guys just keep bringing up crypto. Gary's becoming Jamie Dimon. If you don't want to talk about Bitcoin, Jamie, quit mentioning that you hate Bitcoin every time you get in front of a camera. He said so many, I'm never talking about Bitcoin again. Next question. What about Bitcoin? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I mean, I think, Jamie, that all you have to talk about is Bitcoin because no one gives a shit about what Chase Bank is doing or not doing for its clients anymore because everyone knows that the legacy banking system is a racket. So, yeah, God, you know how much money they pilfered from immigrants and non-U.S. citizens in the form of bounced check fees and insufficient funds fees? So, like, let's say your account is insufficient. What Chase does, especially if you're an immigrant, is they hit you and then they keep trying to rerun the check about 7 more times. And they hit you every single time. They'll run a $12 check 15 times. $35, $35, $35, $35 on an account that has an average balance of $150 to wipe the account out. They do it over and over and over, so much so that they got sued by the government and had to pay a fine of several $1 billion. They are a big, giant, organized fraud facility. So Jamie Dimon, I'd like to punch that guy right in the dick. Just a boom, right? I would go down like into a lunge position and I'll be like, dick punch. It'd be a good one. Maybe nothing happens. I don't know. I don't know what Jamie Dimon's like going on. Maybe he's a robot. Anyway, Kitty, want to say hi? Whoa. Oh, look who's saying hi. Want to say hi, baby? Yeah. Is that cool? Is that microphone cool? All this stuff's cool. She likes the lights. She likes all the little colory lights and stuff. It's so pretty. Hi, baby. What are you doing this morning? Okay, let's go down. That's it. We had a cameo. We had a kitmeo. All right. Let's see. No. I didn't really cuss that much. You can say Dick because that's people's names. There's people named Dick. I knew a boxing commissioner in Texas named, here we go, Dick Cole. What kind of a-hole parents do you have? Dick Cole? You name your kid Dick Hole? Come on, bro. Stop it. That's some a-hole parenting. Anyway. All right. We're going to get into some business cycle stuff. Do you guys have any questions that are not investment specific, but investment general? If you have investment general questions, we'll tackle them. I don't want to get into the specifics of this or specifics of that because it ends up that that's the kind of stuff we do behind the wall. Any talk with Tufi soon? Yeah, I talk with Tufi every day, buddy. We just don't record them. Doing all sorts of cool stuff with the website, cool stuff behind the scenes here, where you go in and you manage all your stuff. What? Look at all this kind of stuff. Did you guys know now that when you buy, it's immediately to your wallet? You buy bundles. This you get it. Like it's yours. It goes to your wallet right then. Boom, you have it. Say what? That's right. Masternode, half master, quarter master. That sounds quartermaster. It's like a military thing. An eighth, a 16th, a 32nd, a 64th. Or no, did we miss? Yeah, 64th, 120. Yeah, you get it. And then a 256th. But yeah, you get these node licenses now, and that's it. So then you're just waiting for the marriage date, which, by the way, they're doing on testnet right now. They're doing all this stuff on the testnet right now. I watched it happen yesterday on a conference call. They married the tokens to the node licenses and just basically ready to point towards equipment, which is cool. It's cool. So we're very close. Compute coming soon to computers near you, I guess is the way to say it. Anyway, so all that's coming. And also, by the way, part of the exchange will be that you will be able to start selling your node licenses even when they're married. And then we'll have tilling scores and rank and all that kind of cool stuff. So that's pretty badass. And then, of course, you can go any of the tokens that we offer just for regular tokens. You can go, okay, Hypercycle. Let's go see what's going on over here. You can look at the sales. Okay, someone bought 50,000 tokens. What? That's pretty cool. So anyway, looks like that 50 cent mark. Someone's people buying, selling, trading, swapping. Numbers like that are probably people trying to fill licenses or whatnot, or people, it doesn't matter. Who knows? And people can do all sorts of things for all sorts of reasons. Anyway, cool stuff. And then, of course, you have the NFTs. Yay. Which share in the revenue of the exchange. Great. There's that. All right. Let's see. For non-members, they have to buy an NFT. Yeah. So for some of the features, like just for managing your licenses and all that kind of stuff that requires us to create all sorts of new programming and all that, that's going to require an NFT because, again, the NFTs fund the development. It's as it turns out, when you run 2 or 3 concurrent development teams and each person charges many currencies per hour and you run them 24/7 for, well, let's see, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, for 9 months straight, it's expensive. And no, Howard, we're not going behind the wall. That's not what we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, bro. So anyway, yeah, the NFTs fund the development. So we token gate the management services for the NFT holders. Now, if you want to buy, sell, trade, swap, flop, flip, whatever, your node licenses, your married licenses in production, the entire business, that you can do au gratis. The marketplace is open to one and many. The all sorts of cool stuff, that's token gated. And we're going to do like some little promos there, like for anybody that buys 2 NFTs, they're going to get 2 node license bundle for free, right on top. Attempted rant. I don't have anything to rant about. Like what would I rant about? When we get into the business cycle discussion, there may be some peripheral rant there. Is HyperPG going to be ready in time for compute? Yeah, I mean, I think HyperPG is already ready. I think their website's what's a little sloppy. And I mean, I don't mean sloppy in that it doesn't look nice. It just doesn't, it's super basic and it's not very intuitive. And a lot of the things that you would do at HyperPG, you'll be able to do here at Node Market. So there you go. It would be that if you purchase 2 Node Market NFTs, which again pay you a return of revenue on whatever the exchange makes in fees, just goes back to the NFT holders. But if you buy 2, you're going to get a 2 node license bundle. You're going to get one of these guys, one of these little fellers right here. Boop. And that will go directly. It's not that old thing where you go onto some list and then at later point. Now you buy it, you get it. It's in your wallet right then. Web3, bro. Some Web3 action. Instantly. 2 gets you 2. Remember we used to do that around Thanksgiving? 2 for 2, 2 for 2, buy 2 no license NFTs, get 2. Some people were like, what about the other way? I'm like, no, man, the other way doesn't work. And remember, we're just a facilitator for Hypercycle to get these licenses out there, but we're building all of the support around it so that you'll be able to do complete management of everything in here. You'll be able to manage all of your node licenses, your entire business right here. That's the whole point. That's why we call it Node Market, man. We don't call it Singularity Net crap asset market. No, we call it Node Market. All right. Let's see. Yeah. And also remember, you're getting an NFT. It's not like it's not sunk cost. You're still getting paid a return. And until the people that bought the first NFTs are completely made whole, everybody gets 100%. Whatever revenue is made every month, all of it goes to the NFT holders. You see what I'm saying right there? You think Brandon and I getting rich? No. Well, I mean, eventually this thing will probably be worth something and we could, sell it to somebody, but right now, no. We're building it because it needs to be built, and apparently no one else feels like building it. And if you see how complicated the process is over at Hypercycle and HyperPG over on the HyperPG website, you're going to be buying an NFT. And if you're going to be buying one NFT, you might as well buy 2 because then you get a 2 license bundle for free. Is the 2 for 2 offer going now through June? I'm going to say this officially, although Brandon will probably snap at me because he's very snappy. I will say that this will go on until compute starts. Once compute starts, we ain't got to hook up nobody. Ever. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this will go until compute rolls out and everybody's earning revenue. How about that? This will continue until everyone's earning revenue. Fair deal? Fair play? Let's see. Let me get off this screen because this is a lot. This is a lot going on. Okay. If the reserve currency, the US dollar, devalues, why are we focused on a failing fiat? Should investors diversify into hard assets? Well, the dollar is always debasing a little bit. The problem is that other currencies debase or devalue at an even or higher rate. They all try to stay together. But I think it's pretty obvious that if you look backwards, your dollar doesn't buy what it would have bought 10 years ago in a basket. Like the basket would just be more empty. Does that make sense? So if your dollar buys less stuff, it's always being devalued. But I think what you want to focus on is the US debt market. And if everybody else in the world is still investing in US government debt, knowing that it's unrepayable, knowing that it is completely farcical, and yet that is still where everyone chooses, all these other countries, hedge funds, that's where they all choose to park cash. Why? Well, because they have to deal in dollars. And if you have to deal in dollars, owning the safest, most liquid assets that you can pledge into repo and buy, trade, sell, swap, lend, repledge, relend, rehypothecate over and over and over. I mean, if that's where you go to do business, that's where you go do business. $5+ trillion a day of deals get done in repo. So when a bank is failing, what do? They try to put a bunch of collateral together and they go into repo and they try to borrow and meet their liquidity needs or their cash needs to prevent some kind of insolvency or some unwind event. So I don't think anyone else in the world cares about the dollar slowly devaluing as long as there's not a big, fast dislocation. And people have been, these gold bugs have been saying forever, oh, yes, gold could spend 12,000 an ounce and all this kind of stuff. None of these assets, Bitcoin included, they don't track inflation or debasement minute by minute. On the wide scale, if you back way out, if you get up to 10,000, 20,000 feet and you look down over time, to an extent, gold used to track inflation. It doesn't really anymore. It hasn't. It missed a whole decade. Remember, everybody's like, oh, gold's all-time high. It's amazing. It's not, dude, it was in 2010 and 2011, it was already up around 2K. So what happened for a whole decade? Nothing. A big nothing burger. You don't think the government was printing money? Good. All they do is print money. I mean, they just print digits. It's not really like, and they also print money. So I don't know. And hard assets, go to the other end of that. Are you going to go to the market with gold coins? Who are you going to sell to? So that's the other problem is, you go to sell this stuff and you get punished both ways. You pay a premium when you buy gold. You're going to get punished when you sell it. If you sell any kind of large amount, it's got to be refined. You're going to have to pay fees for that. Who are you going to trust? Are they going to thumb the scale? Like, it's just not so easy. All that glimmers ain't gold, right? So it's not so clear cut that it makes sense. Now, if you're saying hard assets as just a big basket of things like real estate and art and metals and, maybe exotic car or whatever, things that you think hold their value, sure. Because if they hold their value and there's more currency units fighting over the same amount of fixed things, but like when they say real estate, they're not making any more of it, that's not accurate either. They're building straight up. The buildings get taller and taller. They're making plenty of real estate. So, don't so much buy into that hype. There are certain markets where it makes sense, but that gets into a whole other thing. But that's a whole other form of speculation. And so far, if you had speculated, other than some pockets of real estate, right? You're not actually making money on real estate. What it is you're not losing to debasement effects. Like, oh, in 20 years, my house went up and it doubled. Yeah. And your buying power has been cut in half. Guess what? You broke even. You just broke even. You made nothing. Basically, you just didn't lose to debasement effects. Well, not losing to debasement is not making money. It's not winning. Because then you go, cool, I sold this house that's worth a whole bunch of more cash units, but those cash units can't buy anything. They buy half of what they bought or a third of what they bought. Crap. Yeah. So, it's not so clear that hard assets are the way. I think you have to be in an asset that is performing. Now, if you can do both, if you can have a hard asset that's performing, yes, and that's true. You live for free, and there's value to that. So you just have to add it all up if it makes sense. And I think you're right there too. I've always been a believer that silver makes more sense. It's an industrial metal. It's got much more use case, but also, neither silver nor gold are all that scarce. I mean, they're just not that scarce. They find these metals all over the place all the time. It's just, I don't know, man. That the more that you dig into the argument of metals, the less interesting it is. And don't get me started on diamonds. Okay. Let's see. You're not buying real estate within a half mile of me in any direction. We're going to slant drill you. Here's what we're going to do, Howard. We're going to buy real estate all around you, and we're going to build tunnels underneath your place, and we're going to build bridges, sky bridges all the way over your spot. And we're going to basically feed birds all the time so that a bunch of birds crap all over all your stuff all the time. That's what we're going to do, Howard. That's what I'm going to do with my wealth. It's called Howard 2.0 plan. And you're going to be down there like these damn birds. And I'm going to be up there seeding the clouds with bird feed. Really high fructose, like very chunky bird food so that those birds are just hammering you. How about that? All right. I don't even know if they have different kinds of bird food like that, like treats, bird food treats. Maybe there's a market we should get into. All right. Let's do this. Let's switch gears now. I know he brings it on himself though. Howard, he wants to be punished. What else? Well, what do you mean? What else? How much? Come on, Craig. Come on, man. Isn't that enough? Isn't winning enough? Must you lap the competition? Guano. Yeah, that's true. If he can then take that high fructose those bird droppings and repackage them and somehow sell them, he's gonna be rich. All right. Let's do this. Let's switch gears and let's talk about market cycles. We gotta improve our brain boxes. As you guys know, that's always Tuesday, Thursday. So let me queue up my gear. Let's see. We'll go here.
Hello. You're late.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
Okay. We're going to talk business cycles. So first, I'm going to go through the business cycles nice and easy. For those of you that are in the chat right now, this second, it's 213 people. What are the 4 business cycles? Go. I'm going to sip this coffee until some answers come in that make sense. And if the answers are stupid, I'm going to vomit. But I'm not going to vomit this coffee because I like this coffee. I'm going to eat something else with Ipecac in it. I'm going to vomit that. And then I'm going to keep drinking this coffee with your bad answers. And yes, any licenses now would be tilling from April 15th. The business ones. I'm giving you the business. I'm giving you the business end of these birds. Okay, let's see. Boom, peak, trough, recovery. Kind of. Not at all. So yeah, kind of. But I think boom, like a boom and a peak are, yes, kind of. Expansion, that's one. Patsy, you got one. Expansion, peak, contraction, trough. Yeah, I mean, there's a word that we always use, and I feel like, damn it. I think Howard might have gotten it right. Let's see. Oh, no, he did. You missed it by one little bit. What is it when you guys are, when you're not feeling good, you're feeling, come on, this is basic stuff. Depressed, bro. Depressed. No, Howard didn't get nothing. Don't congratulate him. He missed depression. The one person that suffers more depression than any of us, at least during the hours of 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific time when he's on with us, he's got to be more depressed than any of you because I crap all over him every chance I get. And that's the one he missed. Depression. Depression. Quit saying trough. There you go. You technically got it because no one else came up with depression in the amount of time that I was talking about depression. Quit saying trough. Trough is what an animal eats out of, or any of my ex-girlfriends. All right. Quit saying trough. Expansion, peak, recession, depression. You know, like they didn't call it the great trough. Hi, kitty. Kitty, are you troughed right now, or are you depressed that we can't play? Yeah, she's not troughed. She's depressed. So we'll talk the cycles first, and then we'll go back. So expansion, this phase characterized by increasing economic activity, okay, expanding. Businesses invest and expand, hiring increase. No. She's going to go up there and play with those NFTs, and she's going to destroy them. Stop. Come here. Come here, Bubba. Sit down. Give me a second. She's doing her little thing with her tail, which means she wants to jump up there again. No. Nope. She's going to make a run at it, I guarantee you. Anyway, back to expansion. Employment levels, consumer spending rises, general euphoria. In game theory terms, this can be seen as a cooperative phase where players, economic agents. Nope. Lay down. I got her this little robot, and then she took the robot and ran off and started hissing at me when I tried to get the robot back because she broke the robot, and the robot guts were spinning around on the floor, but the light was still going off. Anyway, expansion in game theory terms is a cooperative phase where the different individual agents, the players in the game, anticipate positive outcomes from their strategies, from their investment strategies. It encourages more investment, more consumption, more spending, more traveling, what have you. That's an expansion. We love expansions. The peak. This is the point at which the expansion reaches its maximum rate, its maximum speed or velocity. Economic indicators do not grow further. They start to plateau. This stage represents kind of a Nash equilibrium in the economic cycle where no one entity or player has really any incentive to change their strategy, their investment strategy unilaterally, right? No one is incentivized to do anything extra. And it represents the high point of economic activity before the onset of contraction. Hi, Bubba. She's so fluffy today. Then we get to the recession. And this is a period of economic decline. As you look around the world, GDPs tend to decline, gross domestic product, they decline. And typically the rule is 2 consecutive quarters. The other way to look at it, I like the business version of it where you look at corporate profits. And if corporate profits have 2 consecutive down quarters or flat quarters, you're pretty much in a recession. Recessions aren't usually this long. Like we've been in a very long one because the government keeps trying to use transfer payments to paper over the recession because dumbass Janet Yellen said we'll never have another recession while we were in a recession. Seems a little stupid, but anyway, GDP declines for 2 separate quarters is considered a recession in this phase. Also, by the way, we're never in a recession until this little group officially says we're in a recession, which is usually halfway into the recession. So all of these government kind of D-bags that tell us where we are in the economy, even though we know because we behave as such, we spend less or we spend more, we act like our behavior is the cycle, not their labeling of the cycle. And they're always looking in the rearview mirror. They're on the track racing a car, looking at the rearview mirror. It's not necessarily so productive. But anyway, in the recession phase, cautious strategies tend to dominate as the different players in the game, the agents seek to minimize losses rather than maximizing gains. So like in golf, like playing not to lose, right? You're just playing not to lose. And it resembles a form of the prisoner's dilemma where individual rational strategies lead to kind of collectively worse outcome rather than a really, really bad outcome. And so that starts to reduce economic activity. People go less, do less, spend less. They hold more, they hoard more. They're more risk averse. Hopefully they're paying off debt, but maybe not. Anyway, and then you have a depression, which we don't allow to happen because governments step in and try to paper over everything, which actually exacerbates the problem. But a depression is characterized as a severe and prolonged recession. So recession, 2 quarters, prolonged recession, depression. At a certain point in a recession, you're like, dang, man, when will this ever end? Well, guess what? You're in a recession. It's become a depression, or transitioned into a prolonged or protracted recession, you're in a depression. You're depressed. I'm not happy. Crap, I can't pay my bills. When am I going to be rich? Hell, when am I going to pay my bills? So economic output is significantly below normal. Unemployment is high, like right now. In game theory terms, this is to be likened to a tragedy of the commons, where short-term individual strategies like excessive cost cutting or savings lead to long-term collective detriment, right? If you're not spending, someone else is not making an income, right? So if there's excessive cost cutting, excessive saving, excessive not spending, that creates long-term not profiting, right? Not growing. And so it's a collective detriment, a prolonged economic downturn. So if that makes sense. Okay, so now how do you navigate these suckers? So let's explore a little bit more your psychological moves, like the seasons, right, of these business cycles, and how if you understand the cycles and you lay them on top of what you're seeing through our lens of game theory and, basic psychology, you make smarter decisions, both emotionally and financially, which is good. So this expansion phase, we started with expansion. Oh, wait a minute. Now that we've done this, I want to see everyone write all four. What are the phases? What are the cycles of the economy? While I drank my coffee. Now that I just told them to you. And the Rolls-Royce thing has to do with, it's for digital private clients. We're investing in a one of 100 car, a kind of a special project that Rolls-Royce is making. We're going to all collectively get it and sell it and make many millions of dollars. What? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Up, down. Stop it, Barry. Stop it. You're not going to get a rant out of me. This coffee's too good. It's too good to spit up a rant. Well played. Mr. Popoff popped off. What? Expansion, peak, recession. Dear God, man. Now I see. You guys are getting it. This stuff is kind of, all I have to do is tell it to you over and over 18 times, and then you get it. This is good. Maybe 18 times the number. I thought branding was 7 times. Apparently it's 18 times. Okay, good. So we're getting it. Let us continue. So let us think of expansion as the spring. Spring's eternal. Oh, wait, no, that's hope. Anyway, in the expansion phase of the economy, everything grows. Businesses boom, jobs sprout, the spending increases, people are generally euphoric and happy or happier. And it feels like an economic, by the way, this is not for like the lower class. Unfortunately, the lower class and the poverty stricken just always suck. Life always sucks for them. However, for the ones of us that are fortunate enough to participate financially, the best time is the expansion. It's the most fun. And this is the economic spring. So game theoretically, it's a cooperative game where everyone is benefiting from participating. The only losers are the ones that can't participate. If you live hand to mouth, you can't participate. But here, the best strategy is to invest and grow. You can't stay on the sidelines or you just watch everyone else grow. A lot of people are risk averse and they watch everyone and then they come in at the peak. But there is a cognitive bias at play called optimism bias, where we feel like good times will continue forever. This time is different thing. And it is important to stay grounded during an expansion because nothing expands forever other than the universe, and it's going to end in cold death, like the business cycles. So it is important to stay grounded, invest in your education and your skills, use dollar cost averaging, use fundamental analysis. Do not fall victim to FOMO, fear of missing out, which it's hard to not do that because it's like ingrained in us. But remember, even in times of growth, the winter is coming. So then we hit the peak. We'll call this the high noon of economic summer. When the economy hits its peak, it's like a hot summer day. I know Brandon doesn't experience those because apparently during the summer there it snows. But here in LA, it gets effing hot, and I love it. And during a hot summer day, when the sun is the highest in the sky, barreling down, but spraying you with photons, everything looks bright. Everything looks colorful. It might seem like it can only stay warm and get warmer. This is where we talked about Nash equilibrium kicks in. This is where any significant change by any one individual could tip the balance. So you have to be aware that the bias that kicks in here is confirmation bias. You start to only see what is confirming your beliefs, which is dangerous. And so if you're in that echo chamber, you're not getting conflicting opinions, or at least other ideas that might steer you towards a more truthful perception of the market status. It's crucial to look at indicators to foresee an upcoming change. So the best time to assess your financial habits is at that peak. That's where you start to say, am I using a rules-based exit approach? Am I taking currency units to the sidelines, having some dry powder, so to speak? Anyway, we would be exiting during this time. Slow exits on quality assets that are in some state of they have expanded to its business cycle, and so we can take some off the table as a bunch of other dumb idiots FOMO in. Because then we enter the recession, which, by the way, becomes one of the best. The recession and then the depression is the best time to invest. So as an investor, I know it sounds terrible, but as an investor, you look forward to the depression to reinvest. So, but let's go to recession. This is the fall of the economy. So as the leaves turn and fall, so too can the economy into a recession. And this phase is like, this is in game theory terms, a non-cooperative game where fear can drive people to make decisions that are good for individuals potentially, but bad collectively. Like you cut spending, good for you personally. You get debt paid off quickly, good for you personally. You don't take on any new loans, any new debt. You don't expand your business. Well, these are things that are good for you on an individual level, but for the entire country or the entire world, globally synchronized everything, which we all are now, it deepens the recession. So the cognitive bias here is loss aversion. We fear losses more than we value gains, right? We take a loss with more negative points than a win gives us positive points. Okay, so it's key to managing your fears. Like focus, again, programmed investment, programmed exits. Look at places where you can get some continual, perpetual compounding interest effects. Again, this is where be brilliant at the basics. You're measured not by what you do in an expansion market. You're measured by what you do in a recession and a depression. So let's talk depression then. Finally, the winter of the economy, which again is the best place to invest. This is where all of your game theory and cognitive bias and financial training will eventually make you rich or better. I say better would be some version of wealth. Rich or better comes from what you do in a depression and how you behaved during the recession. In a severe downturn or that long, continual, perpetual recession that just turns into a depression, the economy freezes over. This is the tragedy of the commons. The individual attempts to save themselves, and it causes so much collective harm to the economy that the economy just gets beat up. Companies finally start letting people go. The employee hoarding and all that kind of stuff, it's over with. The company's like, that's it. We got to cut. We have to cut jobs, go away. Fine. And then the government has to start the transfer payments and all this kind of stuff. So herd behavior will drive people to start making very irrational decisions, like withdrawing all their money from banks. And, then banks we don't have liquidity. We can't make loans. And then all this stuff starts to shrink. And in these situations, fundamental analysis, doing your 5 T's, critical thinking, having that stockpile of free cash that you can invest, staying informed, questioning herd motives and activities, like looking at people, keeping an eye on what they're interested in. Is it some crap reality shows? Is it like, what is group thinking? And then get out 6, 12, 9 months ahead of it, 6, 9, 12 months, 18 months ahead of that, and invest in the path of progress. And this is a tough time for everybody except us. Because every time I get into expansion phase, I look back and go, man, could I have done the last depression or the last recession? Could I have invested better back then? Okay, the next time we get there, I'm going to be aware. And it's very difficult when you're in, because whenever you're in a business cycle, there's this tendency to think that this cycle is going to continue on in perpetuity, which is stupid, right? Things are in cycles. Your day is in cycles. You wake up, you do your stuff, you eat some food, you get tired, you may take a nap. If you're Howard, you take 4 naps. Everybody else, and then at the end of the day, you go to sleep, or you take meth. One of those. You just never sleep. Then you die. So even our days are in cycles. The seasons are in cycles. The business world, the investment world has cycles. So you have to recognize that we are in these cycles, and we can play this game very wisely if we're aware of it. You can guard against your cognitive biases. You make decisions that benefit, like not only you, but the community and like the greater global story. And then when all of this plays out, everyone's going to call you lucky. And you're going to nod and say, yes, I am very, very lucky. Path of progress. It probably should be one, right? God, that'd be a good one. Anyway, let's call it a day. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor, insolvent, drunk, strung out on meth grandmother wouldn't do. We will see you tomorrow for the regular show. We'll go behind the wall. We'll do all sorts of cool stuff. And then Saturday, Rolls-Royce Nightingale, fun and shenanigans for the digital private clients. Woo woo. All right. Godspeed then. Or whatever other speed. I guess that would just be 186,000 miles a second, which is, yeah. I guess it's Einstein's speed then, isn't it?
Investor and you want in on angel, seed round, or early round equity and token opportunities in the artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency space, schedule an interview at nickblacknext.com. In life, you can either be really good, really lucky, or just be first. Being first is so much easier. Schedule a digital private client interview today at nickblacknext.com.